I know it's in United States Postal Service colors, but that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it, just the contrary. That is the A2A Piper Comanche here on the ground at KRDD Redding in California. We've got a 10 knot or so headwind coming at us down this runway, and what I'm going to do today is practice landing, because heavens to Murgatroyd, I have not been expert at it in this plane. I've been coming in a little bit too fast. I've been floating down the runway. The whole thing is very awkward. The other thing I'm going to do right now is unlock and open this door, because when you start this engine, it is cool what happens to it. The slipstream blows it back, and also it's just a beautiful wing to look at. So we're going to get started, and what we're going to do is we're going to do some pattern work. And we're really going to drive home the importance of Flight Sim 481, or Rich's original instruction, which happened to be in the Piper Cherokee, of landing speeds. Our landing speeds have been just too high, and so we're going to try and get them down a little bit. This airplane has the quality, the characteristics of floating, having very low drag,
System test okay.
and having a real nose-heavy tendency, mainly because this is an airplane that was originally built for a smaller engine, and it's got a big-ass six-cylinder engine right here, and so it's very nose-heavy. And so you tend towards three-point landings, which are very, very ugly. So we're going to try and slow down a little bit to keep our nose up, and also so that when we come off the power, and we are going to try and land with a little bit of power, so that when we come off of the power, we will settle onto the runway instead of descending with the power off and then having to bleed off speed simply through floating. So let's first just get this course lined up here. So we've got a little cheat sheet of which way to go. We'll do a left-hand pattern, not necessarily because the field has it, but because it'll give you a good view of Redding, California, which is just south of Mount Shasta. So let's check that the parking brake is on. It is, and I'm not going to prime it because the engine's been running until just a few minutes ago, so I think we're going to be okay. And we'll just grab that, move our throttle up to about there, and have at it. Alright, now as we do that, about 1,000 RPM, that's good. Let me just lean it down slightly for the ground here. And just take a look at our temps. A little low, but that's okay. Oil pressure's fine. Oil temperature's in the green. Alright, oil temperature is really what I care about, because I want to keep the engine nice and lubricated. So I think we're reasonably good to go. Turn on the strobes and the landing lights. Fuel pump, it can stay off. Nothing's going to break in that regard. And you notice that this door blew shut, but of course it didn't shut because it's still got that latch there. So what you have to do is do that, and there we go. Now we're latched up. Another thing we can do is put on our headset. We'll get even quieter. You know what, that's too quiet. And that is too loud. Alright. So let's see. We'll climb to 1,500 feet, which will be pattern altitude, 1,000 feet above ground level. And we won't be too anal about making really tight patterns here, because what I want to do is really what you're supposed to do for a stable approach, and that is to fly a decent length final portion, and so we'll do that. Alright, avionics, that shouldn't have automatically come on, but okay. And I think we're good to go. So, with that, oh, here we go again with the Garmin here. Hang on. All right, we'll just humor it. All right, and check our trim. It's reasonably neutral. It's good. It's cool having the trim up there, isn't it? Okay, brakes released. Let's go flying. Okay, takeoff power set. And up we go. Alright, so here we go. Turn crosswind right here. Getting good frames. Oh, a little high. Okay, we'll turn downwind. And we're going to aim for a speed coming over the threshold of about 85 knots or so. Let's see where we are. Alright, there's the end of our runway. A little sloppy on the altitude here. And we're going pretty fast, so let's slow down. Alright, coming up on the end of the runway there. Done. Get our props back up. And to see how long this is taking to slow down, I'm going to trim into it. So I'm going to trim for a lower speed than we're doing right now. Alright, bring down the gear. That'll slow us down some more. One notch of flaps. Turn base. Beautiful over the river and that bridge there. Just going to trickle on the power. I think I'm going to aim to have about 17, 18 pounds of manifold pressure by the time we finish this up. Alright, so I adjusted using FSUI PC the sensitivity of my X and Y axes, and that is making this flying a lot better. I don't have the bobbing up and down to the nose, which is problematic. So, alright, there we are, and we're a little high, but we can slow down now. The plane handles like a dream, it really does. And now I'm trimming into our descent. As we slow down, I'm trimming for a progressively slower speed, and as we get close to short final, or on short final, I'm going to be trimming. You can look up here and see that I'm doing a lot of trimming. Okay, next notch of flaps. Bring a little, no, you know what, let's slow us down. So I'm going to trim back and come off the power. Because this plane is very hard to slow down, I've discovered. So let me just, we're at 100 knots right now, but we really need to go slower. The problem is, no, I've got enough trim. Alright, there we go. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Just trickle in a little bit of power. Trickle in a little back stick. Trim back a little more. There we go. Alright, now this is getting a little bit better, I think. When you trim in this plane, the nose comes down a bit, and that's nothing wrong with that. So I've been advised about 75 or 80 will do us nicely, so let's try 80 here. And again, I want to have just a little power in because I want to be able to pull it off. Wow, this is not a sporty arrival, but it, I think we could do okay here. So now I'm trimming back as we get closer to the threshold, trimming back, easing out the power, trimming back, and right now, off, pull back just a little. Hey! Now that's not bad. Alright, let me just trim down a bit. Get our flaps up one notch. And let's roll again. Now I'm trimming down because I'm going to be trimming for a higher speed. I'm anticipating about 100. Okay, pulling up. Gear up. Let's make that turn a little quicker this time. Alright, I think adjusting our sensitivity made quite a difference. Alright, there we are on a nice crosswind leg. Alright, now we'll try and do that a little faster. Now, that's about as quickly as I think I can slow down, but maybe not, so let's see what we can do with that. There we are. Alright, there's the end of the runway. Roll off the power. Look at how quickly we build up speed. We're at 160 already. So now I'm going to come as low as I can without setting off any warnings. I'm going to start to trim back right now, early. Okay, now there we go. Get our gear out. Turn base. I'll do this a little quicker this time. A shallow descent, and I'm just trimming back into it, believe it or not. Well, you can see because my nose just came up. Alright, There's our flaps. A little high now, but now let's see what we can do as we get ready to turn final. Now that the gear is out, I can pull out most of my power without fear of that damn horn barking at us. Alright, get our second notch of flaps. I'm not going to use 3, don't need it. I'm making a little bit of a steep turn here, but we're descending, so that's okay. There we are, we're red over white. And actually, now that I've adjusted the sensitivity of my stick, we are no longer bobbing that damn nose up and down. We're low, though. So I'm just going to get us at 80 and keep us coming down. And this is actually going to serve our purposes because as long as I don't let the speed build up here, it's going to let us roll off the power as we come over the threshold. So now I'm looking at the gap between my nose and my landing touchdown zone, keeping that steady. And then we'll switch over to the gap between our nose and the horizon. And I'll keep that almost the same distance, actually. Alright, there we go. So 80 knots. Trimming back into it. Over the threshold. Trim, 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 trim. Okay, there we go. Oh, that was sweet. Alright. Get our notch of flaps up. Get our trim down. And try it again. Didn't trim down enough, but that's okay. Up comes the gear. Off goes the gear. It's a 2-stage gear switch. This is not as easy to land as the Beach Bonanza or Baron in X-Plane, but I think I'm cracking the code. Slow down just a bit as we stay level here. A little low. Alright, there is the runway again. And we'll get ready to do our little trimming act one more time. Okay, there we go. Lots of trimming. Notch of flaps. Slow. Again, this is the key. Slow, and as we slow, we're going to trim for the speed that we're going to be. Alright, there's our runway lights, so we're high. But this is like driving a car. Now I'm doing this by sight. Okay, one more notch.
500.
There we go. Alright, so the key really is speed here. And now look at how long it's going to take to slow us down. So I am going to put in that last notch of flaps right there. And now that we're just on the glide path, I'm going to Trim back and trim back and trim back and pull. There we go. Now I'm going to eke the power in just a little bit. More back trim, more back trim, more back there. Okay, keep that power on just a little. Okay, in comes the trim. Neutral now, there we go. Let's try it again. This time we'll slip it in to slow down, but again, the key is going to be we're going to slow down to about 80, or slightly slower. And that really is going to make all the difference. Now, we're going to let ourselves speed up. Oops, a little overshoot there. Let's see what our frames are like now. 56, not bad. Right, round we come. Go. All right. All right, now this is considerably faster, so we're just going to extend our downwind just a little bit. Okay, I think we can bring our gear down at where? I don't remember, but I'm going to say it's about 150. Seems not unreasonable, as they say. So I'm going to hold our rate of climb or descent. Hold, oops, little trimming mishap there. Get the gear down. Get one notch of flaps out. And I've got a lot of back sticks, so what I'm going to do right now is trim it out a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to use this turn to slow down. Alright, so now we're going to have to kind of slip it in a little bit. Let's just see. No, you know what? We're going to be slow enough now that I think we can slow down enough.
500.
Yes, we can. Although it's still holding a decent amount of speed. Alright, there we are. Pitch up. Trim to hold it. Pitch up. Pitch up. Keep pitching up. Alright, so this is not as automatic as the Beechcraft. It does take a little bit more work. Okay, that's going to bring our nose down. Final stage of flaps. Let's see if we can go even slower coming down here. I do want to keep enough engine in, though, so that I can remove it in the flare and let us settle onto our main gear. There we go. That's almost perfect. About 78. We're going to let ourselves come down. There we are. And let ourselves settle. Nose high. And then lower the nose. Alright, well, it's just a different way of doing things than landing the Baron, which is a little faster, and it bleeds off speed quicker because there's a lot more drag over the wings, but let's just see what that looked like. So, okay, this is not undoable. It's just different. So let's see if we can make this work. There we are. On short final. Ah, look at that. Okay, perfect. And 60 frames. Look at that. That's pretty good. Okay. I mean, it's, as you can see right there, it's a very wingy airplane. And I helped the situation by putting some passengers in the back. There we go, right over the numbers. You see how we're just slightly nose up. Off comes the power right there, and we just let ourselves settle onto the runway. All right. I guess that's the way to do it. I wish I could back up the way I can in X-Plane, but let's wait till it plays itself out. 10 more seconds, and then start it again so you can see exactly how that looks from here. There we are. Okay. All right, I'm not unhappy with that. Not unhappy at all. You just have to fly slower. And accept that it takes longer to slow down. There we are. Boom. And then, look at that. 2 beats later. Okay, that's good. See that one more time, and then I'll let you go. Next, we'll tackle the T6. There we are. All right, that's nice. So you see the picture here is pretty much constant. Constant, constant. And the neat thing is when we transition to looking at the end of the runway, you'll notice that the distance between the end and here, when we flare, is almost the same. It's funny how that works out. A little bit of a sloshing around there, but adjusting the controls really helped. There we go. All right, on that note, I think that's how it's done, and I'll keep practicing, but thank you, everyone, who submitted tips and gave me some help with speeds and told me to shut the hell up and just practice, and so I did, and I'm enjoying this plane more, so thank you for that, and see you again real soon.